She's going to give us some more practical tips in that regard. And we might be able to get some bonuses out of her. I'm hoping that we'll have some bonuses here as well tonight. So tonight is going to be really, really fantastic. Is anyone excited about it? Let me see in the chats who's excited, who wants to know more. Some of us have been lurking. Do I have any lurkers? Some of us have been lurking. We've been listening to the podcast, getting wins. We're on the visibility formula workshop last week, and we're able to get some wins and do things that we had never done before. So we've experienced a little bit of the business school, but now it's our opportunity to actually get an open house tour. So you're going to meet besides Dr. Una and myself, of course, you're going to meet some of the staff of EntreMD. You're going to meet, and like I said, past and present students. It's going to be wild. So does everybody have their beverage? Hold up your beverage. Hold up your beverage. The reason why I want you to have a beverage, because I want you to stay. I want your commitment that you're going to stay on, because we have Q&A at the end, and we might be able to get some more bonuses from Dr. Una, hint, hint. So stay on, have your beverage ready. I'm going to go get mine. Okay. Dr. Una, we're ready for you. Dr. Signorelli has hers. Dr. Kadze has hers. Dr. Shram has hers. That's all right.
I love it. I'm feeling like the odd person out. Like I need to go get something. Okay, let me know in the chat, how is everybody doing? We're going to have some big, big, big energy this evening. Throw up those emojis. Let me know how excited you are. I'm always excited for EntreMD Business School open houses because we get to talk to, I see Dr. Heather Signorelli on here. I see Dr. Rashmi. Like, I hope you're ready. Where are my emojis? Oh, there they are. I was like, where did my emojis go? All right, so we're going to just dive right in. The idea is for you to get a feel for the school, to get a feel for the kinds of people who will be your classmates, the team you would work with, the people who've been there, done that, have many t-shirts. So first of all, I want to interview the newest member of Team EntreMD. We are so excited to have her as a part of the team. She's already pulling her weight. We're so excited. So I'm going to bring her on. I'm going to ask her a few questions, and then we are going to talk to Dr. Rashmi. So this is going to be so much fun. So Jessica Roy, hi.
Hi. I'm glad to be here. It's exciting.
I'm excited too, and I'm excited you're on the team. I tell you this, but I'm going to give you a moment. Introduce yourself to the lovely doctors on here.
Well, my name is Jessica Roy, and like they said, I'm the newest member of Team EntreMD, and boy, it has been a wild ride so far. I am so thrilled to be learning and just seeing all of the rich goodies that are in the business school. So getting to know the doctors, kind of putting names and faces together, and so it's just been really, really, really fun to get to know everybody. I've been in the business and coaching space for about 5 years, and I can honestly say that stepping into this community and to this school, I'm just floored by the success and the results that the doctors are getting. And also just stepping into, it's like walking into a warm room where you're like, you don't have to wonder if you belong. You don't have to wonder if you have somebody to sit with at the table. All of a sudden you just walk into the school and you're welcomed in. Even as a team member, I just saw that everybody is just so welcoming. It's a great place to get results and to have support. So yeah, so that's a bit about me.
I love it. And I love that you've been able to see that, because what you're talking about is what we stand for. And you've been like, this is what, 30 days or somewhere around there. And you can already see it. I remember getting the text like, oh my goodness, these doctors are amazing. I'm like,
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit like what your role is in the company, what you do in the company.
Sure. I mean, probably the simplest way to put everything that I'm doing into one box is to say that I have eyes on all the doctors. So I get to come in and I get to see like, these are all the doctors in the school. And, I know the faces with the names. It's taken me a few weeks, but I'm starting to see like, oh, I can see what's going on in this business, and I can see this business and so this doctor and another doctor, I need to connect them. Let's make a connection here so that, they can really either keep each other accountable or speak on each other's podcasts. Just kind of coming through with, who's showing up to their calls? How can I help them, build the momentum that they have going in their business? How can I support them and get them the resources that they need or the connections that need to be made? So that's kind of like an overall, just a sum up of what I do. I mean, there are little tasks and pieces, but that's really the joy of my position, is just getting to help the doctors see the results and keep their momentum.
Love it. Results, results, results. And EntreMD, that's what we live, breathe, eat, and like, how do we help them get bigger results? And I haven't asked you this question, but I made up my mind I was going to ask you here. So you've been in here 30 days, and sometimes we say that sometimes I say I wish I could take doctors from everywhere and just let them drive through the Facebook community to see like what the community is actually like. But like we're not going to do that, but I want you to give people a feel for what is this community of physicians like? What shocked you about it? What amazed you about it? All of that.
I mean, I really think that from some of the things, so I'm an ideas girl. I love to see new ideas and I love to see them come into fruition and then bring impact. So I'm just really astounded at the ways that these doctors are thinking creatively to bring a business that brings impact, and the ways that they're really putting themselves in. I mean, they're going all in, even if they aren't doing 100% of the things 100% right. They're showing up every day, even in the small ways, in the big ways, and they're seeing results out of it. So I was astounded at just the room. I mean, the room is just full of great ideas, and I see a lot of people saying like, hey, what about this? Or I need help in this space. Can somebody direct me? Or I'd love somebody to be on my podcast. Let's work together. And and everybody's just so willing, so willing. There is no zero-sum game in the EBS.
I love that. Okay, we're gonna borrow all those lines, Makita. Take note, and we're gonna borrow them and take them as ours. But thank you so much for coming on here and for sharing these, because I think it's really important, one, for people to meet the team and kind of to put a face to the name. And I'm glad I got to get your perspective on things. So thank you. You guys show Jessica some love in the chat. Show up those emojis. Let's do it EBS EntreMD style. So thank you for coming to join. What will you tell someone who's thinking about the school but is on the fence? What do you think?
I would think that I would ask myself, do I really want to pass up this opportunity? What if this could be the thing that really gets the results I've been dreaming of?
What if? That's a good what if.
Right.
Okay. All right. Go get the love in the chat. Thank you for coming on. If you've been thinking about it and you haven't turned in an application, that's what you want to do. Okay. It's not a binding contract. It's an application to have a conversation. The conversation you'll be having with Makita. You've met her. She's the nicest person ever. She's probably the nicest person on the team. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Jessica and I are nodding. Okay. With thumbs up. So, all right. So that's who you want to talk to. EntreMD.com/business. Turn your application so you can have that, have that conversation going. All right. Now, who is ready? If you guys let me know you're ready in the chat, I will bring up Dr. Rashmi, who is a total rock star. All right. Total rock star. Makita, if you can post that link in the chat. Let me see. Makita says she's ready. Who else? Oh, one person is ready. If you guys don't say ready, I'm going to keep all the yumminess to myself because I get to see her on most Wednesdays. Okay. Rashmi, how are you?
I'm so good. Thank you for this whole opportunity and this conversation.
Of course. I'm always excited when I get to talk to you. Okay. So before I get ahead of myself, take a moment, introduce yourself to the lovely docs here.
Yeah, so my name is Dr. Rashmi Shram. I am an mind-body trauma-informed, polyvagal-informed yoga, meditation, and mindset coach. I run in-person retreats. I also host a membership online, and I also do one-on-one private coaching. And I have been in EBS. I was just looking at this, Dr. Una. I have been in EBS since December of 2020. And so I like to call myself an elder, but they call us EBS masters. And not long ago, I think I said to Makita, I think I'm a lifetime member, guys, so don't try to get rid of me. And it has just been a beautiful, wild ride these almost, 3.5, 4 years. And I just can't wait to just watch the evolution and the growth and the community just get more and more powerful. It's beautiful and grateful.
Yeah, I'm grateful. You're a gift to the community as much as, you would say EBS has been a gift to you. So this is amazing. So inquiring minds want to know, talk to us about what your business looked like pre-EBS.
Oh yeah, it was struggling. It was really struggling. I had gotten into the habit of undercharging and there's no such thing as over delivering, and because I still do it. So it doesn't matter the price tag, but I was really struggling financially, like very deeply struggling financially. I was having a lot of issues just asking. I was also having issues just with getting clear on where I wanted to go. There was a lot of just confusion. I was trying a bunch of things and not really having a lot of luck. I tend to be a fairly intense person sometimes. I would like take these sprints and then I would just kind of lay off. And so there was no consistency. It wasn't great. I mean, it wasn't like it was some horrible dire picture because I could have maybe figured it out in 15 years, but I didn't really have 15 years to figure it out. So it was struggling. It was struggling. Business was struggling.
You could have figured it out in 15 years. We do the math. That puts you at 2035. I'm glad you joined the school then.
Me too.
So tell me what business looks like now, right? And maybe a little bit of how EBS helped you get there, like for sure and faster.
Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh. In so many different ways, right? So right now I have a very thriving, growing coaching business. Just to give you a slice of just the last, even month or so, I've had a number of completely new private clients who have found me through different venues, whether it's my podcast or I've guested on someone else's podcast through like a YouTube video or something like that. And they followed me and they just literally, they will schedule, on my Calendly, and then they are usually almost ready by the time I come in. And it has been a really big, beautiful way that I've been able to hone my message to be able to attract magnetically the people who are looking for me anyway. And not just that, right? It's also the visibility formula that you have really been consistent in giving us the capacity to practice. And it is a practice, really. And so I got to hone my message. I got to get really clear on that. And I got to practice it in a really messy way because we look around and everyone is doing it messy. And so we have to let go of these perfectionist tendencies that we have. And that was a really huge part of it, because that safety in numbers, and I really do mean safety, right? It's just a very safe place where there is a zero judgment place where you can be like, okay, guys, here's what happened, and this feels this bad. Like, what would you do? And there's no other place that I know of where we can go do that and feel that vulnerable. And so I think EBS really helped me to kind of just get out of my own way in so many different ways, right? And then there's also this beautiful vision of, Dr. Una, and she's constantly pushing herself, which is what's really, really cool here. There's no stagnation for anyone, not for Makita, not for Dr. Una, not for Jessica, right? And so no one has arrived, and neither will I. None of us will ever arrive. And so this idea of constant growth, constant evolution becomes just a way of being once you're inside EBS. And I think that is one of the biggest takeaways for anyone who's considering it, because there's just, again, I have looked and looked, there is not another community that could even compare even a little bit. So, inside my business now, so for example, I have sold out 5 in-person retreats, and I have done so very intentionally. And right now, I have a waiting list so long for because I've been hemming and hawing about my fall retreat, but I have enough people that as soon as I announce it, I know I will sell it out. And that is because I have been able to study what works, what doesn't work, how to deliver crazy high results for people when they sign up to work with me. And they will almost always sign up for me again. Like the vast majority of people who have ever come to any one of my retreats will come again. And so it is just this beautiful way of elevating ourselves, elevating others. And again, there's no zero-sum game. There's no competition. We're not competing against each other. And so I hope that helps paint a picture.
That paints a really good picture. I haven't made it to your picture. This is so awesome. And I mean, like, okay, so tell people I gave you a nickname. I don't know if you were this today or last night. You, you want to tell people what your new nickname is?
Yeah, so Dr. Una, I saw it today. It said, why don't we just call you Dr. Rushmi always sells out Shram? And I'm like, I'll take it. I will take it. If that is my manifestation, I am here for that.
Because she's like, I did my retreat, I sold out. I did this retreat, I sold out. I did this collaboration, I sold out. I'm like, well, like we might as well just give you the name for it. Okay, so
I love it.
Some people on here are at a really critical moment. And I say critical because Dr. Rashmi, you remember when you first started what that was like. Like there are people who watch your initial coaching calls and it is their ever-present reminder that they can build a phenomenon because they're like, wait, Rockstar Rashmi started here? Like we're good. Like you remember those calls, in the beginning. And so somebody is there and the power of a decision because you're on the other side of it, but they don't know what it could look like, right? If they're committed to their goals and they do the work and they're willing to do it messy, all these things you described. So what would you say to the person who's like where you were, right before you signed up and you're kind of like, I don't know, I'm thinking the investment, will I have the time? Maybe I've tried something like this before and it didn't work. What would you tell that person?
Yeah, I would say I feel you, I hear you, and I was you, right? Like you are in the right place if you're even considering it, right? And that in and of itself is a very powerful thing to just even be in here considering it. And so I would say that's a win for you right now. If you've gone to the visibility formula, that was a win for you already, right? And so, and there is always a critical moment, if you will, right? When we have to choose whether we're going to bet on ourselves, keep doing the thing that we've been doing, which maybe we've gotten a modicum of results because no one in here is in any way, shape, or form desperate. And so this is not, kind of a desperate sort of like, let me just throw this last little hook out. Or maybe it is, and that's fine too. But the decision to invest in ourselves, the decision to bet on ourselves sometimes feels really, really, really hard. And so I would say honor the hard part of that and still choose to say yes to yourself. Because really, truly, on the other side of this is is the growth. It is actually as good as it seems. And part of that is bringing in folks who are eager to learn, who are eager to grow, who bring in their own unique perspectives. And I think that's what's really interesting about EntreMD Business School is, it's not all just private practice. It's not all just, direct care. It's not all coaching. And so you would think like, how is this disparate, almost like a motley crew? Like, how is this working out for you guys? Like, surely there's not one, bottom line here. And the truth is there kind of is. There is a thread that connects us all. And it's this idea that we have already what it takes for us to grow. And so we're really just kind of injecting that fuel in and doing so on a very consistent basis. And I think that's what makes the big difference when we choose to bet on ourselves. And that's what really EBS is to me. every time I choose to go to an in-person retreat that you do, right? So the meeting in April, I'm betting on myself, and it should make us pause for half a second, because it is a big decision, because it means we've said, oh, I'm going to do things differently because now I'm betting on myself so much. This is what I'm willing to put down.
I love it. Love it. Thank you for sharing that. And I don't think I could have said it any better. It really is about betting on ourselves. It's really about what can be. And what can be is like night and day. I'm sure, Dr. Rashmi, when you think about back then and what you were thinking your goals and your vision, all of that stuff was to be there and be here now is nothing short of magical, So thank you so much, so much for sharing that. Thank you for sharing your story. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. I'm happy you're coming in April. I've saved a hug for you. So, well, several hugs for you.
I was like, I'm going to get 2 or 3.
Yeah, you're gonna get a ton. But please let us show Dr. Rashmi some love in the comments. Show lots of love. Thank you for coming to share your story. Again, yes, EBS is a gift to you, but you're a gift to us. So we're so honored. Thank you for coming to share your story.
Thank you so much.
All right, peoples. Go get the love in the chat. There's love going for you, Dr. Rashmi. All right. So again, thank you, Dr. Rashmi, for sharing that. For everybody here, especially if you've been through the visibility workshop, you're here, you're back. There's a reason. There's a question you're asking. There are things that you're thinking of. When you think about the EntreMD Business School, like it really is a place for you if you're committed, you're a physician entrepreneur committed to your goals. You're like, I want to bet on myself. I want to make this thing my reality. And goals for you may be starting something, but goals for you may be, I've been in cruise control for so long. I'm ready to build that dominant team. I'm ready to build a business that can work without me. I'm ready to cross that multiple 7-figure mark. I'm done being lonely as an entrepreneur. I'm done hiding my creativity. Like, I am ready. And if that is you, then this is a container you've been looking for, because this is a container where you will get that support. So the doctors here will tell you, you get to have mentorship every single week, right? Every single Wednesday, 7 p.m. In fact, fun fact is that even the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, the first year I was like, yeah, so it's a Wednesday before Thanksgiving. So we're taking the week off. And they're like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. We're going to be there on Wednesday. Like, this is EBS. And so we have calls on Wednesday because people are like, this is what I do Wednesday evenings. And you get the mentorship that you need there, right? You have a private Facebook community where you have doctors like Dr. Rashmi and the doctors you're going to meet. You have the team in there. You're getting your questions answered. You can bring your trials and you get support. You can bring your triumphs and you get celebrated. Like, it's just a beautiful community. You have monthly challenges because actually, for Dr. Rashmi, I know I was going to say, I don't know if you remember, I know you remember this. We had a challenge that we called the Ask-a-thon challenge, where, it's all about asking, which is something as entrepreneurs we run away from, but then you're doing it in community, right? And so there's this positive peer pressure going on. And that's one of the things that Dr. Rashmi used. Dr. Rashmi said, oh yes, I remember, I was so mad at you. But this was something that she used to bring radical transformation in her business. I think that, Dr. Rashmi, let me know if I'm correct. I think that was your first sold out group program or something like that, was from the Ask-a-thon challenge.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I got so many no's. I was just getting nauseated like every day. But then I got used to hearing the no's, and I'll tell you what, the no's usually mean not yet, is what I learned all these many years later, because a year later, they're like, wait, now I'm ready.
Yeah.
So the Ask-a-thon really, it gives back for a couple years.
So and every month there's a challenge like that. Right now we're doing the milestone challenge. So it's challenge after challenge, but it's all designed to keep you in momentum, keep you getting results, keep you in a position where you overcome your obstacles. So like Dr. Rashmi, the no, think about how many years not wanting to hear no's could have stopped her. But in 1 month, she was over it. She was like, okay, I've heard enough no's. I'm nauseated. I'm now no longer nauseated. Like, thank you very much. We're good. Right. And so, now she just goes to bigger no's, which create more nausea. And then she gets over that too. That's just the way it works. And that's the community for you. Okay, so if you're like, I'm committed, but I need support, entremd.com/business, go turn in your application, because I want you to be able to say, like 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, like, man, I'm so glad I heard Dr. Rashmi's story and I said yes, because this is where I am now. That's what we want to celebrate. Okay. Okay. Awesome. So again, lots of love. Thank you so much, Dr. Rashmi. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for being amazing. All right. Now I have another doc here. So amazing. She's an alumni of the EntreMD Business School. It was such a joy to have her in the school. She crushed it and killed it, and she's been crushing it and killing. So I'm so excited that, she's on here tonight. So that is none other than Dr. Heather Signorelli. Hi, Doc.
Hi, how are you guys? Good to see you. Good to be here.
So good. I was like, I mean, like, I get to chat with you. This is so much fun. Okay, so I was going to say, how are you doing, and take the chat, but let's be nice to the people.
Another time.
Okay. So please take a moment, introduce yourself to the lovely docs here.
Yeah. Hi, guys. So Dr. Heather Signorelli, I am a pathologist by background, really kind of in that physician executive space, been in administration for over 10 years, running hospitals. And then we opened up our own medical billing and coding company a little over 2 years ago, just this past January. And, we'll get to the stories on growth, but honestly, it was one of those things that for me, I wanted to have that something that was my own, right? I have been that corporate employee. I have done that for others. And both from a safety perspective as well as a passion perspective, I wanted to have something that we could contribute and give back to and make our own decisions and really help those physicians. And so we have been crushing it thanks to the EntreMD method. It's just been one snowball after another, and it's been so fun. I mean, I've had everywhere from doctors crying on the phone saying that they couldn't have done this without us, to just taking on this new practice actually today, and the docs are just so excited to have us on their side. It's been a joy. So excited to be here and kind of share our journey as you guys are getting ready to take on your own.
Oh man. Yeah, we're going to get into that, because I'm telling you guys, it's pure yumminess. Like, that's the 30,000 foot is just so good. Okay. So let's start from the beginning, right? Like, so before EBS, right? What did business look like, right? Like, let's paint that picture.
So bad. I'll tell you guys, and Dr. you may or may not remember this, but so we started this company. It's my husband and I. We started it together, and he was still learning. He's not medical, so he's like learning all the medical stuff. Me, I'm like how are we going to market? What are we going to do? How do we let people know that we have this amazing product? I know the business side of medicine. How can I teach that to practices who are trying to be successful within the insurance world? And so I kept listening to the podcast. I think I'd listened to the podcast for about a year and a half, and kept just going, I don't know if I have the time, because, hey guys, I'm actually still working full time. So, and I have babies and all the things. And so I really just kept kicking that can. And finally one night I was like, no, I'm going to do it. And so what was so exciting is I got the behind the scenes podcast. I don't know, the magical one. What's the one? What's it called?
EBS to go. She says the magical one. I'm going to borrow that.
Okay. So I got that, and you get it, or at least I got it before like our go live kickoff meeting. Guys, I binge watched that or listened for weeks. And then by the time we got to our first class, I had started a podcast. We had done all of the things that Dr. Una had basically laid out that we needed to do. And business went from, I had one client, and I, had one employee who was a 1099. Now we have 17 practices. We have 5 executive leadership members and 35 team members total. We've gone from like no profit to, gross revenue, going to hit the 7 figures this year. And so it's just a whole different world. And it's not just about the marketing piece. I mean, that was a big piece in the beginning. But honestly, it evolved into
what you need at different stages. And I think that this is important because you may be thinking, oh, well, that doesn't apply to this stage of where I'm at, or that doesn't apply. Guys, every application of wherever you are in life, it is there. And because, you know, in the beginning, it's marketing, it's visibility, and then it's like, oh crap, I actually have to now like deliver. And so how do I deliver? How do I hire the right people? And don't get me wrong, we had our missteps in the beginning of hiring and stuff. But, you know, with the tools that we've learned, we figured out, okay, how do we do it better the next time? Fire fast when it's not the right fit, you know, all the things. And I can honestly say now, like, it's wild. I don't even recognize where we're at.
I don't even recognize where we're at. Okay, let me know in the chat, and this is for everybody. How many of you would like to say that a year from now? I don't recognize where we're at. Let me know in the chat. Just say me, if that's you. You want to say, I don't even recognize, right? Because that's Dr. Rashmi's story. That's Dr. Signorelli's story. That's my story. And you'll find that it's a story of so many others. So to take a business from 1 employee to 35 employee, including 5 executive, because that's the reason why she can work full time and build a 7-figure business, right? And to go from I'm floundering, I don't know what to do, to in this short period of time, launch a podcast, get new clients, get all these things in place is just wild. And your podcast has been such a game changer for so many practices. Dr. Signorelli, I don't know if you know this, but podcasting will grow your business, but podcasting is also your legacy, right?
Yeah.
And so everywhere where you're training people, you're teaching people, you're turning practices around. Some of them will work with you, some of them won't. But when we look 3 years, 5 years, 10 years from now, you will see that you've affected probably like hundreds of thousands of doctors because of what you did. And that's the absolute truth, right? So how would you, when you think about being in the school, what would you say are some of the things that helped you create all these massive changes over a short period of time?
I loved the in-person things. I think that really got my head straight on planning. It's funny, Dr. Una, I'm packing because, you know, we're moving, and I found my EBS journal. It was in my desk. And it had all my things written in there, which is crazy because they were from 2022. And I was like, oh my gosh, not only have I like accomplished all of these, but you look at my goals for 2024, and guys, it's funny because what our goals were when we first started this company for the long term have already been surpassed. And so now we're making goals that I didn't even think were possible for 10 years. And it's just bananas. I don't know how else to explain it. And I would say the community was huge. I mean, I still connect with the physicians that, you know, are EBS folks. And that's key. I've created those friendships, the accountability. Honestly, EBS, I mean, it changed our business, but it also changed my viewpoint on business. It made this idea that, and you guys, you know, I'm in business, right? I run hospitals, but business on your own is so scary. And you think about all of the what if things, but I'm going to tell you, like, now looking back, 1, I had nothing to worry about. And 2, now I just dream 10 times bigger than I ever could because I know I can. It's just a matter of time.
I love it. We call that in EBS, add a zero, just add a zero. Just add another zero, no biggie. Okay, so I remember you saying, and this was when I first interviewed you. I think you had been in the school for a little under 90 days or just at 90 days at the time. And you were like, you know, I know we don't do regret in the EntreMD world, but if there's anything I would have changed, I would have signed up sooner. Because you talked about the long time you spent listening to the podcast. And I think you even got on a call with Makita and now and all of that stuff. So there's somebody like that sitting watching, right? And they've listened for a while, and maybe they've even been on a call as well. If you could talk to you when you just started listening to the podcast or 2 months in, what would you tell you about when to sign up and how to think about it and all that?
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny. You think of all these excuses, right? I don't have time. I don't know if I want to spend the money. You think about all of these things. I will tell you two things. Number one, I earned that money back in my investment, and it is an investment of my, time with EBS back before the first 90 days. It was like with, because we got clients, everything was so fast. What I regret the most is not doing it sooner. I will say I'm, full-time in another job. I have children. I have this business I'm running. I didn't do everything perfect. And I certainly didn't do everything you told me to. Don't tell Dr. Una, but I didn't do everything.
I can't hear it.
I can't hear, but I still was able to have the success we have. Now, I can't even imagine if I had done every single activity and every single thing, and maybe I will get back to being able to do that. But I will tell you the stuff that I did implement changed my world. And I wish that I had done this, because you think where I am now, right? If I was where I could be in a year and a half, I mean, it'd be just different. I think I wish that somebody had kicked me in the pants well before I signed up, because that's probably my biggest regret, is that I didn't do it sooner. Again, I was able to recoup my investment so fast, and now be able to have those skills that will take me on for forever. So,
And that's the beautiful thing. You keep the skills forever.
yeah. And you just keep building.
And you keep
Yep.
building on them, right? Like stacking. And, so if you're here and you're thinking about it, Dr. Signorelli is giving you the proverbial kick to go
Yes.
turn in your application today. So entremd.com/business. And the reason why we're doing this is this company, EntreMD, the business school, exists to help you hit your goals. That's why it exists, right? Dr. Signorelli already had a very successful career. She did not have to do a business. The driving forces of her business is to help these private practices thrive and all of those things. Same thing with us. We built this because, we really want to help doctors, and we understand that you're going to need to acquire skills in marketing, acquire skills in hiring rights, building team, building company culture. You're going to need to acquire all these, like you're going to need to transform. Physicians don't run successful businesses. Physician entrepreneurs run successful businesses. So there's this transformation that needs to take place. And all of that is what we do in the school. So go turn in your application, and, we can't wait to welcome you in the school. Okay. So Dr. Heather, thank you so much for coming on. Did you have any final words you wanted to leave the people with?
I do. I have one final thing. So, I think if you guys imagine where you're at right now, if you've imagined those three things that you're like, I want these three things before the end of the year, right? If that's, hey, I just want to get the LLC or get the team started or get the podcast started, I highly suggest, this group, EntreMD, the business school, changed our ability to get what we needed. And now, honestly, I actually have more passion for my full-time job than I did before. And so it has solved so many things for me and for my husband. And so if you're sitting there thinking, I've got these three things, I want to accomplish these this year, there's no time like the present.
There is no time like the present, says Dr. Heather Signorelli. Thank you so much for coming on, and it's so nice seeing you again and all of that. Congrats with all the wins you've created, on the move, all of those things. It's just been amazing. So let's show her some love. Tell her thank you in the chat. So exciting. So we'll reconnect.
Yes, we'll reconnect soon.
Yes,
all right. Talk to you guys.
Okay. Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much. All right, everybody. All right. We have had two amazing, you've gotten to meet Jessica, who is part of Team EntreMD, gotten to meet Dr. Rashmi, you've heard her story. You got to meet Dr. Signorelli. And really, I just want to slow down here a little bit just to tell you, like, if you've been wondering, is this school for me? The school is for you. If you're a person committed to your goals, you might say, does it work for my type of business? Makita, what's the answer to that? The answer is, Makita says yes. Okay. So you may be private practice, insurance based, you may be DPC, DSC, you may be a coach, consultant, speaker, you're doing events, all of those things. and they're doctors just like you in the school. Okay, we have people from I'm launching my business to 8.5 million in revenue, right? In one room. There's so many people in the business school who have vision boards of people they want to be like, and those people are in the school. So imagine being in a community filled with people like Dr. Rashmi, Dr. Heather, surrounded by a team. There's me, there's Makita, there's Jessica, and we're all working together for this 2024 goal you have. Okay. So again, how many people are committed to their 2024 goals? Let's just acknowledge that here. Let's acknowledge that here. Who here is committed to the 2024 goals? Are like, we're making this a reality. I'm not telling stories. I know I said in January that this is my best year yet. I'm going to really make it my best year yet, right? I have 2 people. Oh, the rest of the people are coming, right? Dr. Robin says, committed now or never, right? And we're physicians. The truth of the matter is, this is our time. You may look around and you're like, oh, what's happening with insurance companies and the reimbursement? What's happening with, doctors being dismissed and all of those things? All these lies we've been told about the fact that we cannot build successful businesses. It is not true. In the EntreMD Business School, we have over 100 doctors who are thriving in all kinds of industries. We've met someone who is a coach, a meditation teacher. We've met somebody who owns a revenue cycle management company. You've met people who run private practices. We have people who are specialists who are running direct care practices. So it doesn't matter. We can thrive. This is our time. Okay. But this open house is about you. This is about you seeing enough of the school that you can make a decision that, okay, I feel safe in this decision. This is what I want to do. I know I can do it. Let's go. Okay. So those of you who have already turned in your applications, congratulations. We're going to be reaching out to you. We've had a few new people who joined the school. Congrats. We cannot wait to welcome you to the school. But I want to bring on another friend. Okay. So let me know in the chat if you can handle some more. If you let me know you can handle some more, we'll do some more. If you say enough, we'll call it a day. We'll call it a day. Okay. Okay. All right. So I have a doc here. I absolutely love and have been so inspired and impressed by this doc. She came into the school. And at the time she was like, I'm going to start a practice, but it's going to be months from now. Is this the time to join or do I wait? And I remember telling her that opening the doors of your private practice does not make you an entrepreneur. Becoming an entrepreneur makes you an entrepreneur. So I'm like, why don't you take this time before you open your doors, gain all the skills, build a business before the business, and then open your practice. And man, I'm so grateful that she said yes to that. And I want you to meet her and hear her story. Dr. Devin said, I'm so happy my wife signed up last night. Going to be a year to remember. That is amazing. And yes, it is going to be a year to remember. I can't wait to interview her at some of our next visibility formula workshops. It's going to be so good. Okay. So let us welcome here. Please show her a lot of love in the chat. Dr. Sade Fari. Hello, hello. Where are you, Doc?
Hi, I'm here. Hi, Dr. Una.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good, I'm good. I'm trying not to be nervous.
But you're here, right? That's what we do in EBS, right? Like nervous, so what? Like we just roll with it. Oh my goodness. Okay, so take a moment, introduce yourself to the wonderful docs here.
Hi, everyone. I'm Shadi Fari. I'm a pediatric pulmonologist. I'm in New Jersey, and like Dr. Una said, I was in an employed position for the longest time in a children's hospital. And when I started having that nudge, I think I want to open a practice. I was scared. I wanted to do it, but I wanted to be sure. And so, like Dr. Una said, I reached out knowing that, I had watched and listened to the podcast. I knew that there was something in EBS for me, but I wasn't sure when to do it because I was still scoping months away from opening the practice. And so I reached out and I wanted to know, should I wait when I open the practice, join, or should I join now and learn what to do? And I'm so glad I didn't wait, like Dr. Una said. So it's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, I'm so excited you're here, and I'm so excited you decided to take the chance to take the bet on yourself, right? Because you could have said no, I'll wait till I start and all of that stuff. So like, tell me what your some of the hangups, like when you thought about starting a practice. What are the things that made you like, don't know if I can do that? Like, what were you thinking about it before you joined EBS?
There were many. One of them was I thought I'm not that business type of person, if there was such a thing. I didn't have doubt about my physician skills and what I did, but I worried about how I thought there was a personality to it. I'm super shy, or introverted, a mix and marriage of those two. And so I thought that you needed to be extroverted to do well in business. I thought that maybe you even needed to go to just have a certain type of, besides another type of certification, to open a practice. And then I thought, oh, I'm a specialist too. So like, how do I do that? Because there are not many examples. And so that's one of the things that EBS gave me, because I was thinking, I wanted to be in a place where, like I didn't want to open my doors and then wait for the patients to come, because we've learned that doesn't necessarily work. So that was one of the big hangups. And another one was you to have people who are doing what you want to do and be in close proximity with them is such a, to be able to just say, I have this question, I have this challenge, and be able to be in a community of people who will answer you. They may have different types of businesses, but they will give you answers and pointers. And even if you're feeling low, they will pick you up. And when you have something to share, wins to share, they'll celebrate with you. So I think also being lonely and alone, because where I worked, I was the only one thinking of doing that. So I think those are the two things. I thought I didn't have the personality, and then I was doing something that my chair, who I saw as a mentor, told me he thought it was a mistake, to be going out of.
Oh, I didn't know that piece. Ah, okay. If you are here and you feel alone as an entrepreneur, and I've had people running multiple seven-figure businesses, but they're like, it's so lonely. Nobody gets me. I can't have any conversations, all of that. If you're lonely, there's a group of unicorns, physician entrepreneurs who are crushing it. Who, yeah, they're like, don't be lonely. Come join us. And if you're an introvert, I get it, because I'm an introvert, right? So Dr. Shah, this is like pediatric people and introverts are rising, right? If you're an introvert and you feel like, because I'm an introvert, I can thrive, I am telling you, there is a community of physician entrepreneurs. Lots of them are introverted, lots of them are shy, and all of that. But as you can see, if Dr. Sade didn't tell you I'm an introvert and I'm shy, you'll just say, oh my goodness, she's so great on stage. She was just speaking at all the things, but she's doing it nervous because that's how we roll. So let's dig into this, right? So you joined EBS. I can't say, I might be making it up. Was it in September? Like, tell me when you joined and when you actually started your practice.
So I joined in April of last year. And I just started the practice January of 2024.
Okay. So what do you think at this point? Do you think, yes, that was the right decision, getting ready, like turning into an entrepreneur before starting? Or what do you think? Are you like, man, Dr. Una, I could have done this in 30 days after starting?
Absolutely. I think I learned to lean into the power of building my brand, of owning my brand. For the longest time, I worked with health systems, and I didn't own my own brand, but just joining the school and seeing that as a practice, that it's not just, I needed to own my brand. So leaning into speaking, leaning into how to market, leaning into just even learning how I would, so that my name and my voice will represent and mean something, growing that know, like, and trust factor before I even open my doors. And I've seen that, because knowing what to do once we opened, visiting referral sources now, and I've started already seeing it work, where a single referral source, and then doing the things, the EBS, EntreMD things that we do, and now they are telling their patients to make sure you see her, and they're calling and saying, oh, when can you get us in? And because they have this sense of my pediatrician said I shouldn't go anywhere else. I should come see you. So again, that learning to turn it around and say, yes, I own my brand. I've used it, and I now see like it coming for the practice. So that's one of the things.
Love it. Okay. So tell us, now that you've opened your doors, what is this like? So you took the time, you built your brand, you got comfortable speaking, you built your referral source base, you did all of this where it's all foundational work that nobody can see. And then you opened the doors, and then what happened?
And then I opened the doors, and now both from, like from everywhere, we have people calling every day. One particular
Let's stop. So this is the problem with EBS, right? In EBS, we're like absolutely spoiled, we're spoiled rotten, right? Like, because it's like, this is how we roll. Did you hear this woman who just started her practice say we are getting calls every day as a pediatric pulmonologist? Like, I think that's worthy of celebrating, right? Like, think about it. Now, when I started my practice, I didn't have EBS, right? So I still remember the first day I saw 5 patients. It's like, it's a thing in my mind. I have never forgotten this, right? But EBS, they're like, I only saw 5. I don't know what's going on. Okay, congrats. I just had to stop and celebrate that. Okay, go ahead. People are calling every day.
So it's one of those things where knowing that the referral sources are sending patients our way, building a team, starting a new practice, learning that it's not just going to be me, and learning to do things every day, even at this stage that we're in, so that we set ourselves up as we grow, right? Learning to teach and delegate important activities to my medical assistant, so that I'm not just working in the business seeing patients, but I'm also working on the business. And that way.
Okay, Dr. Sade. Okay. Sorry, go ahead. This is so good.
So that way it's helping me have this mindset where I like the challenges that you help us. So recently, I joined the Chamber of Commerce in my town, and they said, oh, we usually do this event, but you just joined, it's 2 weeks away. And I said, oh no, I'm going to get in that event because I want to meet people and put the business in front of other businesses. And from that, I've gotten other opportunities to go, to colleges, and potentially we've gotten internships, people who want to intern with us. So team growth, client growth, but also business strategy and growth, because I think even though this is just this 2 months, I think I can see how quickly, as we're getting busy, that I need to put some things in place so that we keep growing.
Oh man. Okay, so this is so phenomenal, because we're talking 60 days in, right? And there's client growth, there's team growth, and in EBS we show you how to make your team profitable, like they're profit centers. So your payroll is not an expense, it's an investment, right? And you're doing this from the beginning. You're delegating. I struggled with delegation for a long time, and that's why I talk about it so much. I'm like, get all those things off your plate, but you're doing this 60 days in. So I want to ask you a question. When you think about you, when you were wondering, will I start it? Should I join EBS? That version of you, if that version can see what you did in 60 days, I mean, what would she say?
I think she wouldn't recognize me. I think this is Sade 2.0. I think that it's EBS, it didn't just grow, it's not just helped to grow my business, has grown me, has grown my mindset. It is when I see a situation, I'm thinking, okay, this is a challenge, but then how do I get around it? So I think that the business is the person, I don't know how to say this, but the entrepreneur matters a lot, right? So
Yes.
who you are has a lot to do with what your business becomes. And so that growth, you're worth that investment of, being able to grow your mindset, being able to grow your ability to just do things, implement, execute. And that way, when you then go and do whatever the business is. So I think, yeah, she wouldn't recognize me because I was so unsure. But now when I face those challenges, I'm like, I just need to figure out how. And then we just keep making a list.
I just need to figure out how. No biggie. If you notice, she does not use the word problem. She's like, it's just a challenge. It's like a weight in the gym. We're just going to lift it, and we're going to do what we need to do. This is so good. I will tell you, I am so proud of you, one, for choosing to invest in yourself when you did. There are a number of people in EBS who've done that. Dr. Kaufman is one of those. She's like, should I join now? I'm not planning to. I'm like, yes, you start now. And she went on to start 16 patients a day, has been busy ever since, and just totally killing it. But you said yes to yourself. You've done the work to evolve. You've done the work to acquire the skills. You built the business before the business, and 60 days in, here you are talking about your wins. And not only your wins now, but part of your win is you're setting yourself up to continue to win, right? Like, it's mind-boggling. Congrats. I'm beyond proud of you. This is amazing. So now there are people here who are wondering, like, EBS, is it for me? Is it real? Is it too good to be true? And all of those kind of things. And some of them are just like, they're excited but nervous, right? Kind of how we always are in EBS, right? They're excited but nervous. They're not sure. You've been in that spot before. So what would you tell them?
I would say that, like Dr. Una said, I was there. And so I feel you. I think that it's important to know that, first of all, if you're committed to your goals, you have to cross that. You have to commit to it. One of the ways we commit to it is we take action. And so I think you're worth that investment. I think that if we want, we want it to go from just being a wish, we want to make steps towards it. I think EBS is a catalyst towards achieving those goals as physician entrepreneurs. So whether it's a practice or any other type of business, I think that doing something new, doing something that entering this community that will support you and will challenge you in ways that you have not. I think that if you're thinking the investment, if you think of it as the fact that if you invest in yourself and you grow, you'll make that back in no time, and rather than wait. And the other part is, maybe I should push it down the road and do it later. There's so much to gain now that I think if you delay it, yes, you're going to regret the time we lost. And so rather than do regret, let's commit, let's invest in ourselves. There's work to do. It doesn't come easy. You will have to, every day there'll be the busyness of life, of family, but you'll have to commit. If it stays staying up at night, making notes for that content you want to put out there the next day, or visiting those practices, even if you don't feel like. So there's going to be work, but I think you're worth it.
It's going to be work, but you are worth it. That is a writer downer. I'm not really sure I have the words for you, Dr. Sade, because I knew part of this. I didn't know all of it. And I'm just like really blown away that this is your story. So this is just the beginning. And guys in the chat, I want you guys to show her some love because, first of all, she is an example of what is possible for physicians everywhere. And then she's come on here to share her story, take you behind the scenes. And I don't know, like, this is so good. Congrats. We're EBS and everybody here. We're just celebrating you. Congrats. Okay. So absolutely. So everyone, just like you see with Dr. Sade's story, right? Like, one of the reasons I love sharing the wins of physicians everywhere is that in the physician community, there is a time coming where a physician entrepreneur will be a normal thing, a thriving physician entrepreneur, but we're not there. We need as many examples of what is possible as possible for us to see what is possible for us, right? Hi, Dr. Noha. She's like, I love her practice. Yes, right? But look at a doc who, she's like, the first, when I look at it, the first thing it did is it changed me, right? Like, it made me the entrepreneur, right? So the transition to becoming an entrepreneur, learning how to market, learning how to sell, learning how to build a referral base, learning how to bring on a team, how to build company culture, how to lead your team in such a way that your team is actually taking things off your plate. She is 60 days into private practice, 60 days. Like, how unbelievably wild is that, right? And so maybe you're here in private practice and you're struggling with your team and you're struggling with being able to put yourself out there, you're the county's best kept secret. There is a solution for that, right? And that solution is your transformation, your evolution, and acquiring the skills you need, which again, there are hundreds of stories of doctors who have acquired this, and that can be you too. Okay. So if you're like, I want to take my business to the next level, I want to I want to be the entrepreneur who is an introvert and shy, and I can still dominate on stage when I'm nervous, just like Dr. Sade did here. I want to be the entrepreneur who's confident as an entrepreneur, who can build referral sources, who is highly sought after, who is 2 months into practice, and instead of being sad and depressed and in panic, I'm celebrating like this is what is happening. If that's you, then please turn in your application, okay? EntreMD.com/business. Again, it's not a binding, it's not a binding legal contract. That just sets the stage for you to be able to talk to Makita. And if you have any questions in the meantime, you can post them in the chat. We'll be happy to get to those as we go along. But this is absolutely exciting. So exciting. Okay. All right. Let me know. I have a rock star doc up here, but you guys have to let me know you want some more. Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat. If you let me know, I'll bring her on. Otherwise, I'll keep her to myself. I'll call her after this and we'll just sit and chit chat. Right? Yeah. Okay. Now, I have a doc here. When she first joined the EntreMD Business School, I was like, oh my goodness. She is a veteran entrepreneur. She's peds. Go Peds. And she came and she took her business and her life and took it all to a whole other level. And she's been a vision board that we've loved watching every single step of the way. And she's an alumni of the EntreMD Business School now, and I'm so excited she's here to share her story. So everybody join me. This is a rock star. I want to see those emojis, and let us welcome Dr. Noha Pollock.
Hello, everybody. I'm so excited to be here. I love it.
You love it. I love it. I was like, yes, we got Dr. Noha on here. Okay. I was going to say, how are you?
Yeah.
I was going to say, how are you? And start doing all the things, but you know.
I was so excited because Dr. Sade Fari reached out to me a few weeks ago because she's my neighbor in Jersey. And she reached out to me and we got together, and it was so cool to see her practice. And anyway, I love my EBS sisters so much.
And we love you right back. Love you right back. Okay. So people are like, okay, who's Dr. Noha? What's the fuss? Huh? So introduce yourself to the people so they can see what the fuss is about.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Noha Polak. I'm a pediatrician. My practice is right outside of New York City. I love going into the city for fun. That's my thing. I started my practice in the year 2000 after I started working for this big company and they went bankrupt. I was working for a huge conglomerate, HIP of New Jersey, called Health Insurance Plan. I worked for them for 3 years, and with 2 months' notice, they let everybody go. Everybody.
Wow.
So, dude, I just stayed. I started my practice, and I think I was doing pretty well, to be honest. But then I got a wind of Dr. Una's, podcast, started listening to it, kind of binged all of it. And then during the pandemic, I think I joined in 2021. Yep. And I haven't looked back since. My practice was doing well when I joined. I had 3 physicians. Now I have 6. Woohoo!
Oh, I mean, like it's only double people. I mean, like no biggie. I love it. Congrats.
Thank you. I was working 4 days a week and 2 or 3 Saturdays a month, but now I'm working 2 days a week, to be honest with you, and 2 Saturdays a month. So like I have a total of 10 days of work per month. I'm running the practice. I'm really loving it. But I was listening to what Sade was saying before, and I think this is not just an investment in me. So let me tell you the people who have benefited from joining the EBS, right? So absolutely, my business has benefited. I have benefited. But let me tell you, my daughter is like she's watching me just get my TED Talk on, right? And I have EBS to thank for that. She's watching me run a business like a boss. And she's like, wow, mom, what's going on? So yeah, she's in her early 20s. And I guess just like Dr. Toomer, her daughters are in that same age group. Um, we are a vision board for our own daughters and sons. And so when I decided to make the investment, I had no idea that it would actually inspire her to reach much higher than she wanted. Because as she sees me reach higher, she's like, oh my gosh, it's not like some stranger doing this, it's my mom. Number one. Number two, I love listening to your podcast so much. And again, I was in EBS for a little over 2 years, for 2 years. And I run my business totally differently now. I have a mentoring group with my two office managers because we have two locations, and we sit and read books together. Guess where I got that from?
Oh man, that is so good.
Right? And
That
now
is
they're being
amazing.
elevated. We're reading a leadership book together. We're learning what our flaws are, how to fix things. And these are the two people that are running my two practice locations. I've been able to take a 3-week vacation and not call here once. I did not call that office one time, right? And I came back and everything was running and my bank account is just fine. So there you are. I mean, look, you can do everything on your own if that's what you choose to do. But I could tell you that the number of people that have been touched by my journey in EBS is much more than me. And you guys just are an amazing community. When I was traveling, like wherever I travel now, I look up who's there and I visit them. I visited Rachel Rubin when I was traveling. I'm going to Seattle. I'm going to visit Dr. Dada. Everybody. I'm like, yep. Wait. Where am I going? Who am I visiting? Can't wait to come to Atlanta and say hi to you. So
Well,
yeah,
you're on tour, EBS tour.
exactly. I think you, Dr. Una, not only are you a great teacher, the EBS school has given me a community I could never have imagined existed. I call people and text people with like personal problems sometimes, and they help me out, not just business problems. I, yeah, I've never experienced a community like this, and I'm a seasoned doc.
Man, okay, so Dr. Noha, you have given us wins we need to unpack, okay? Because because this is some heavy stuff because what you're describing in a time when so in 2021 11,000 private practices either went out of business or sold out to private equity. And you grew. Like there was a whole pandemic. And I remember when there were challenges around team and all of those kind of things, but you have gone from 3 docs to 6 docs, which is huge because then it's like we can't find doctors to hire, all that stuff. But you've gone from 3 to 6. You've gone from working 4 days a week, which is hashtag not that bad, but you went from 4 to 2. You've taken 3 weeks off and not called, and there's no hassle. And when you came back, you just continued from where you stopped. Like these are humongous wins in a time where every day private practices are going out of business. And you didn't come into EBS as a starter. Like you had been, I think you had been in private practice for 20 years when you came
Yep.
into EBS. And it's not like Crimea River, we're dying. That wasn't the case. But you took something that was already really good and made it like 100 times better. You know what I mean? Like this is so amazing. And your story of the ripple effect, and I hope everybody got that. Like your decision to join EBS is not even just about you, but you talk about your daughter. So now the running theme is in EntreMD's hashtag EBS Junior, because it's now a theme that we're seeing in the kids of the parents who are in the school. They're either starting their own podcast, they're starting their own businesses. Sometimes the mom is saying something and the kid is like, Mommy, what would Dr. Una say? Like, so they have this little accountability system built in. It's like the funniest, cutest thing ever. but it's just so amazing the ripple effect that it has. And you are such a gift because your name comes up a lot, whether either people I just met up with you or you encourage them or something, you know what I mean? And your effect just goes on and on and on. So this is just amazing. I don't even know what to say about that. It's completely amazing.
Yeah, I think the community has changed my life, Dr. Una, for sure.
I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. This is so
Me
good.
too.
Okay. Well, so somebody's on the outside. They haven't experienced this yet. And, the things Makita will tell you, the things that come up the most are, like, oh, the investment is pretty hefty. Or they say things like, I don't know if I have the time. I don't know if this is the right time. I don't know if this will work for me, and things like that. So you've been there, done that. You got a lot of t-shirts. So what would you say to that person?
I mean, I ran my business for 20 years or, Dr. Una, and to be honest with you, I never felt so empowered. I feel like you and the community, you give us the nuggets and the push. I'm not gonna lie, it's push, right? You push to
And,
to
and,
go
and I,
beyond.
I can't apologize. I
No.
try. I cannot.
To go beyond so that even though I ran the practice for so long, I would say that the last few years have been much better for me, mental health wise, right? I don't
Mm,
feel burned out because I feel driven. And then I'm surrounded by people just like me. Like I don't feel like a weirdo. So
yes. The
there it is.
crazies, right? That's what the physician entrepreneurs, the crazies. Oh, that is so good. That is so good. I feel like, for a number of reasons. One is you're a veteran. Two is that you've experienced EBS. Three is that I think I remember your last quarter in review post you did. You were talking about the amount of travel you had decided you were going to take. And I was just like, yes, because in EBS, one of the things we talk about is building your dream business and your dream life concurrently. Like we're not building businesses at the expense of our lives. We're building both of them at the same time. So what last nugget do you have for the people here? It could be whatever I just feel like there's more yumminess in there.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, business is hard, but business is a pleasure once you know what you're doing and run it, the way you want to run it, the way you want to run your life. And this is not an investment in just you. You're investing in your children, you're investing in your friendships. My friends they're like, "You're doing a what? And a when?" So this is a kind of a community investment in everyone who touches you. And I can't say enough about the community and the women and men. I have to say, and men.
Yeah.
I've had lots of interactions with Dr. Maki, that are just, they just will go beyond for you no matter what you ask. They'll never just do it, they'll double it. um, you'll never find a community like this, and I haven't.
Oh man. Well, Dr. Noha, it's always such a pleasure to get to talk to you. We'll connect somewhere, New York or Atlanta, who knows, or one of the places we all travel to. But thank you so much for, like, first of all, you've been in private practice for 20 years. And so thank you for being an independent private practice owner. Thank you for showing people that yes, in pediatrics, you can still thrive as a private practice owner. Thank you for being an example of being 20 years into your journey as an entrepreneur, but you're still humble enough to say, you know what, I want to learn differently. I want to do differently. I want to turn this up a notch. I want to build different systems. And for being so supportive of everyone, that is a gift to everybody. And we truly do appreciate you, everything you did, as a student, as alumni, and it's just you're a gift, and we're grateful for you.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Una, and so are you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay, people. I mean, you have to show her some love in the chat. Don't make me look bad. Okay, don't make her go like, Dr. Una, what community was that? Okay, show her, throw up those emojis, show her some love. Thank you so much for coming to share your story. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I don't know, 2 days, 10 days a month, I don't know where this is going, right? But you're living life on your terms, and I love it. That's what EBS is all about. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, people. So you heard her. It is, and I'm going to borrow this line, Dr. Noha, I will give you credit, but it is not just an investment in you. It is an investment in everything that touches you. And I always called it the ripple effect, but I think your way of putting it is even nicer. But it's the ripple effect. It's not just about you. There's so many kids in the EntreMD Business School, and we were talking about it at our last in-person event where like, I don't know, like time will tell what will happen, but there'll definitely be this theme amongst EBS Junior, the things they go on to do. So that is so powerful. So again, you're here for a reason, right? There's a reason why you're still on here. You could be anywhere and you're thinking about it. Now, your next step is a simple step. Your next step is to get on a call with the team, and the way you get on this call with the team is you fill in an application, okay? And what we do when we get on that call, we are not a high pressure sale, squeeze your arm and make you do what you don't want to do kind of company. Like, we simply are not. We just want to help you get to a decision where you're like, absolutely, this is what I need to do, or absolutely not, I'm not doing this. But you see, the value of indecision, that place is where dreams they go to die, right? Like nothing good happens there. So you want to make a choice, you want to make a strategic decision and stick with that decision, okay? And Makita can talk with you about, you know, like any questions you have, payment options that exist and all of that. But we exist to help doctors have stories like the story you heard from Dr. Noha, the story that you heard from Dr. Rashmi, story that you heard from Dr. Shaude. These are examples of what is possible, and we want you to be an example as well. The physician community needs as many examples as possible of what is possible for us, okay? All right, so let me check in and see if we have any questions we need to answer. And then, I don't know if you're ready, because I got another doc, and she's right here, I'm staring at her. I don't know if you're ready. Okay. Makita, do you have any questions you need us to answer before we talk? Are we good for now? We'll do that after? Okay. All right. So next up, we have, oh my goodness. All right. So you're going to love this doc. You probably already know her. We both live in Georgia, and we've had lunch, brunch a number of times, and we hang out, her son, my son, all of that. And she told me one of those lunches, she was like, oh, it's on my list, I'm coming. I'm like, no kidding. And she came into the EntreMD Business School, and I will let her tell her story. But I'm so honored that she's in the school. I'm so honored that she's here to share her story. So join me and let us welcome Dr. Maisha Claiborne. Hi, Doc.
Hi, Dr. Una.
How
So
are
good to
you?
be
I'm
here.
so excited you're here.
I'm excited to be here. You know, I'm all like fangirl to Dr. Una.
Well, you know how this feeling is. You know how it is. Very mutual. Okay, so please introduce yourself to the people here. Say, I'm Dr. Claiborne and.
I'm Dr. Maisha Claiborne. I'm an integrative family medicine physician by training, but I transitioned out back in 2017, and I am now in my third career pivot. I'm running a consulting company focused in trauma-informed communication and psych safety for organizations. And I am in my first 90 days. I'm about to complete my 90-day mark at EBS. And I have to admit, I was a lurker for a really long time. For probably about 2 years, I've been sort of watching from afar, binging the podcast, fangirling from afar. And I'll be honest, yeah, I was always very interested, but I was very intimidated. I don't think I ever shared this with you. I was super intimidated by the schedule. For those who don't know, I'm a single mom. I don't really have any family, like blood family here anymore. And then I was running this business, and when I go in, I go all in, and I was afraid to like get in and not be able to give my all and manage my life. And I remember when I got on a call with Makita, And I was just sharing these concerns, and she shared this schedule with me. And I think I had just come to this point where I was like, you can create whatever you want. You can create whatever, you can make it work. But if you want to take this business, and I'll share, I know you're going to ask me, so I'll share later with that part about it. But if you want to like pivot and take this business to the level you want to take it, you got to take the risk, and you got to have faith, and you got to step in. And so I'm so grateful. It has been a wild 90 days.
Oh, I like, and now I want to hear all about it, like a wild 90 days. So before we do that, like, thank you for sharing that, right? Like, I didn't know the piece about being intimidated by the schedule and all of that stuff. And I think we'll talk about that a little later. But I'm glad, I'm glad you got on a call with Makita. I was like, we'll work this out. And we worked it out. And I'm glad you're in the school, and I'm glad like we're celebrating 90 days here. So talk to us a little bit, like what this consulting business was like, before this 90-day wild ride.
Yeah. So as I said, this is my third transition. And before, I really decided to go from business to consumer to B2B, like back in late 2022. So it has been a slow build, and going into consulting was a completely new thing. And so I really have been kind of grasping, just learning as I go. And what I discovered, what happened was I was trying to run a consulting company at the same time I was trying to build a training business, and it was not working. And because of the nature of what I was doing, I wasn't clear about the messaging. I wasn't really clear about what I was selling, which was really odd for me because I have historically been very clear in my messaging and my language when I was coaching, but this was very different. And so fast forward, it's, late 2023, and things are just not going well. And I'll be honest, I had gotten to this place, this like really weird place of how could you run like a successful practice and then a successful coaching company and then like be like bottoming out, like in the valley. And I was feeling disempowered. And I was like, you know what? This is, you don't have to be here. Like, you don't have to be here. You're in here, you listen to these podcasts, you have a resource, it's right there. And so that's kind of where it was. I mean, I was really kind of struggling, financially, struggling to grow, struggling with clarity, just struggling. And I just knew I needed to do something different. And it was right there in front of me.
Oh, wow. Now you bring up something that this is helpful for everybody, right? Because for everybody in this room, you've been successful at something. And now and that could be I'm a successful clinician and I started a private practice and I'm in a funk. And you're like, what's wrong? I'm successful, right? Or you started a private practice and then you wanted to launch this coaching thing and you're like completely floundering and you're like, what's the problem? Like I'm successful. What is going on? Right? Or you may be, like you may have, you've created one company and you're doing a spin-off to educate people on what you did and you cannot pull it off. I'm inviting you to do what Dr. Claiborne did because that's what you do. Success here does not translate here. More skills are required. There's an investment that got you here. It takes another investment to get you over here, right? Like, so, wow, that's phenomenal. I'm sorry. That's amazing. So then you decided you were gonna join. Now, when you made that decision, maybe even a little bit after you made the decision and you joined the school, what were some of the fears that showed up for you?
The biggest fear was, can I keep this up financially? I'm just gonna be completely honest. Like, am I gonna be able to like hack it financially? Make it, and the thing was, here's an interesting dichotomy. Like, I knew I was gonna make the return on investment. That wasn't the problem. The problem was, could I sustain myself long enough to make this return on investment?
Can I stay long enough? This is Dr. Mayosha's message to you. When you get in, stay in, do not move until you get your return on investment. I love it.
And so that was one of the biggest concerns. I'll tell you, the concern about time went away before I came into the school, right? Because and I'll say that even since I've been in the school, the time has not been a problem. It has not been a problem at all, because once I sort of looked at the schedule and saw how flexible it was, and looked at my own schedule, then it just that ceased to exist. And now even the financial piece, it just has ceased to exist, right? Because I know that this money is coming in. It's coming in already, right?
I love it.
So,
I love it. Okay. So you were in a place, this is your third pivot. It wasn't going the way you wanted it to go. It was creating all these problems. You're in a place where I'm not clear. Financially things are going on, and you made the decision to come into the business school for this wild, almost 90-day ride. So take us on the ride.
Well,
what does life look like now?
I told you, when I go in, I go all in.
I know that. I've been watching.
Yeah. So for me, the biggest thing that had to happen was clarity. And I got it in the first, I would say, like 14 days. And then it was just off to the races. For me, I booked a 5K speaking engagement off of social media within the first 30 days. And then I realized something. I was talking with a couple of my colleagues, and I realized that there were people who didn't have the level of expertise that I had, that were getting paid twice what I was getting paid to speak on stages.
Yes, ma'am.
And so then I was asked, maybe within the next 2 weeks, I was asked to speak again. And the woman asked me, well, what is your usual speaking fee? And out of my mouth fell $10,000.
You didn't plan this. It just came out of your mouth.
No, I just was like,
this is the power of positive peer pressure, people. She's just around people, and she's like, wait, what? 10,000. She's like, wait, what did I say?
$10,000. And she barely blinked. So then I've got the contract there. Then I had been nurturing this organization for, let's say, about 2 years now. And I've circled back to them and got really clear about what I was offering. And now we're on a call next week. They're ready to move forward for consulting. I've got a speaking engagement coming up in the fall that's touching the American Hospital Association. I mean,
okay.
So yes,
okay.
So I mean, and that's an 8K gig, and it's a virtual gig, and so it's and even the organization that I'm speaking for, the 5K, that's on Wednesday. That's happening. I've already communicated right up front. Oh, this is not the last time we're going to be working together. Like we're developing a long-term relationship. And so what it has done is it has inspired me, this community, the team, you have really inspired me to be bigger than I imagined that I could be. And I just take these actions that are outside of myself. I just like throwing my hat over the fence. And I, as a matter of fact, today I had this conversation. I have this course that I've built that I'm licensing, and I was having a conversation with a researcher, and I was like, I'd like to get some data behind this course. Now, I don't know the first thing about research. And she says to me, oh, I'll collaborate with you. I'll be ready to start writing again in June. We'll do the research together. All you have to do is X, Y, Z. We'll get you published. And then I remember looking back on my goals in 2023, my 3-year goals, and I had put publish research in a scientific journal. And I had forgotten that I had put that down. I was like, yo, what? That literally just happened today. So this is 90 days in EBS, man. I'm just like, I don't even know what's going to happen come December 31st, 2024.
I don't know. I hope you're ready. Because the way it is snowball after snowball.
I'm here for it.
We haven't talked about this today, but in the EntreMD Business School, we live 90 days at a time. So what's going to happen April 1st in the business school is happy EBS New Year, because we're done with Q1. And what that does is it keeps you in momentum because you're only living 90 days at a time. Like, let's go for 90 days. Let's go. We actually have our next 90-day sprint workshop next week, right? And we're going to set our goals for Q2 and crush it. Okay. So let me make sure I heard what you said. Okay. Because within this 90-day block, you got the 5K speaking gig, you got the 10K speaking gig, you have an 8K for virtual, meaning you can wear PJ bottoms and make 8K from your house. I got that right. Okay. And you have a new client. You guys are talking about consulting coming up. The 5K person, you've already told them, like, I don't know if you knew, but we got more to do and you have more to pay me. Okay. And then, like Association of Hospitals, that's your Dream 100. Like, those are your peeps. And you're going to talk to them. Like, so what are the opportunities that come out of that? That is so wild. So in 90 days, you clarified your message. So then then you went on an ask-a-thon because you're just asking all day, every day. You raised your prices by default without planning. Your price is just like 10K. That's our new number, right? And you said that you've been inspired to become bigger than you thought you could be. I mean, let me know in the chat, how many of you are thinking that's good for 90 days? Like, let me know who's thinking, because I'm thinking I'm all right with you. I'm all right with you.
That's right.
Okay. So what parts, when you think about, being in the school, that, like, how you've talked a little bit about it, but how has EBS supported you on making this wild ride? Because this is insane. Like, I'm taking notes here. I'm like, this is crazy.
Well, of course, I love, love, love the EBS Lives. However, my favorite thing is the Power Hour.
Oh, Dr. Beckford made me so happy.
Yes, indeed, the Power Hour. I show up to 2 of them a week. And the thing that has been very helpful is in the Power Hour, I'm gonna share what I'm up to. I get the little push to go just a little bit further, If I ask, Dr. Beckford said, I'm asking a question about, who can I reach out to? Or what's the question I need to ask? And she was like, ask your community. It's the one thing that I would say is a big growth edge for me, is leaning. I can talk to strangers all day, which is ironic because I too am an introvert.
Introverts rising. This is our time.
But I can talk to strangers all day, but leaning into my community feels challenging. And so that's probably been one of the biggest things that has helped me, is to lean into my community. And that has brought some significant connections, some very significant connections. And then there's one thing that I will say that just hits me every time, and that is at the end of EBS Live, you say, let me remind you of who you are. And, I get a little emotional every single time, because I feel like that is the one thing that I need constantly. I mean, I need to hear it from the outside, this to be reminded of who I am. And especially when you're in a valley, because I came into EBS in a valley. And even though, I can work through a valley, I can push through, but I'm managing all the emotions. And to hear you say that at the end of every week is it's so helpful. So I just want to share that part where I get emotional.
Oh man, like we're that's how we roll. We're good. I'm so grateful you're in EBS, and I really want to acknowledge the work you put in, because you have 1,000 excuses, not to do it, but you show up and you get it done. Yes, there's accountability built in to help support that, but you still you show up and do the work. And to see what you've done in 90 days, this is insane. Like, it literally is insane. And so congrats to you. And I know your son is watching. And he's like, well, if, like, apparently this is how we roll in my family. Like, we're bosses, and, the ripple effect for your clients and the hospitals you're serving. And it's just huge. And that's said son, right? Yeah.
You hear him in the background?
Yeah, that's what I was like, oh yeah, I hear him. But and this is EBS, you guys. We have never ever had a call in EBS where a child has not shown up on camera. Like, it has never happened in almost 4 years. So we're good with it. You and your kids can come. We do not charge for the juniors. Okay. So this is nothing short of amazing. So tell me, talk to the person who's thinking about it, because you were in this position in December. So you're like, I've listened to the podcast for 2 years. I thought about it. I was intimidated. Some people say they're intimidated by the people in the school. They're like, they're all rock stars. I'm not a rock star. I don't belong there. I'm like, you belong there. But what would you say to the person thinking about it, but they're excited but nervous? They're like, I'm not sure.
I would say, first of all, just get on the call. Just get on the call, right? And talk to the team, talk to Makita. She just allayed all of my concerns. And it was the thing that helped me to get over the hump. And then, I will admit too, that I got in, I was, why the heck did I wait so long? And I know it's been said already, but I will say it too. Why did I wait so long? Just do it now, because the you like 1 year in the future that decides to sign up will be saying the same thing that I was saying. Like, why did I wait so long? So I just say, do it. Just get on the call. Take that very first step and get on the call.
And I like that, because you make it so simple. This is not complicated. You fill out the application, get on the call. That's it. Okay, so Dr. Claiborne has spoken, and she's with the one with the ride of a lifetime in 90 days, right? Like, you truly have lived a year's worth. You've done a year's worth of work. You've compressed it in 90 days. So I hope you're ready for Q2. But, like she said, just get on the call. Okay, she'll tell. Did Makita strong arm you? Like, did she tell you're gonna miss out if you don't join? Did she use some really strong sales tactics on you or anything like that?
No. Well, Makita said to me, with what you're doing, I don't see why you couldn't build a 7-figure business. And I was like,
I like you.
See, now why you got to go and say that?
Well, I don't know. I mean, the rate at which you're going, if you've increased the number of gigs, increased the prices, I don't know. I think you're setting yourself up for that. Maybe she saw something. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So guys, again, you're here, fill out the application, entremd.com/business, and we will help you see if this is the absolute best next step for you. Dr. Claiborne has told you here, it's not strong sales tactics or anything like that. If you just want to get on, so you hear Makita tell you, I don't see why this can't be a 7-figure business, you can get on for that, right? You can get on for that. And I will tell you, there's so many people who have, like, when they come on calls or to share their story, the story of their consult call comes up, because it's not a slimy interaction. It's a gift. Like, really, it really is a gift. Makita says encouragement is free, and I love to do it. Okay, so Maisha, because you've had this phenomenal run for 90 days, I'm going to ask you to give us any final words you have for the peeps who are looking on the inside.
If you, whether you are wanting to start a business in the now or in the future, this is the time to get in, because the structure is there, the tools are there, and I haven't even like gone through all of the library.
I don't judge. You can take your time.
I mean,
you're creating all of this with what you're doing. I'm not mad at you.
Right. I can't even imagine, like, when I start looking at some of the things that I put on my list to look at. So it's the structure is there. It's workable. It's flexible in the way that there are various times that you can get on. There are replays. So if you can't make the live every single week, you want to make it because it's Dr. Una. Um, it's just you just get in there and work it out. Just get
Just
in
get
there
in
and
there
work
and
it
work
out.
it out. I
Yeah,
like
just get in there and work it out.
make the decision, then make the decision right. I love
Mm-hmm.
it. I love
Step
it.
in on faith.
Thank you so much. And again, I'm celebrating you because these wins are just wild. I can't wait for when we do our Q1 in review. Because you get to document your wins, your less, all of that is just, it's going to be so amazing. So thank you guys. Show her some love in the chat. Thank you so much for coming on to share your story. And, it's also not common for physician entrepreneurs to just come out and tell their business. I hope you know that. So that's why I say, let's celebrate them because this is something. Thank you so much for sharing, and I'm rooting for you for Q2. That will be our best quarter yet. So it's just better and better. Congrats.
Thank you, Dr. Una. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Okay, so here we are. We're going to answer some questions. I'm going to bring Makita on in a second, but this is the deal. We are here to help you. We are here to support you. If you're thinking about it, right? Like if you're like, no, this is absolutely not for me, that's fine. You just stay, get inspired by the doctors and all that. But if you're thinking about it, Dr. Maisha has been there where she was like, should I not? And she's saying, man, if I knew I'd done it sooner. Dr. Heather Signorelli is like, she waited a year and a half and she's like, shoot, if I had known, I would have started earlier. Dr. Rushmi is like, I'm EBS for life. Don't try to kick me out. I'm an elder. I'm here to stay, right? You looked at Dr. Sade, who went from super shy, super introverted, I'm not a business person, to a person who's rocking it. And she's only been in practice for 60 days. And her phone is ringing every day with referral sources. She has referral sources who tell their pediatric patients, don't go anywhere but to her. She's 60 days in, people, right? You met Dr. Noha, who's a veteran. Like she had been running her practice for 20 years, only to come in and she's doubled the number of docs she has. She's halved the amount of time that she's spending there. And here she is, living life, practicing medicine on her terms. And she's at a stage in life where I'm sure the most meaningful thing is not even her business, is the fact that she's a vision board for her daughter. And all of that she's doing because of EDS. So like Dr. Maisha said, just get on a call. You can be nervous and do that. You can be afraid and do that, and that's okay. You could be unsure and do that, and that's okay. So just fill out an application, and then Makita, I would say the team, but you've met who's gonna talk with you. So fill out your application. Okay. Now we're gonna do some questions, and then if you have questions, you can post them in the chat. But Makita, what we got for the people? Hi, Makita.
In terms of questions, Dr. Una, you want to do questions?
Yes.
I guess we can start with some of the common questions that people ask since we don't have any. Does anyone have any specific questions in the chat? Please put them in the chat. We'd love to answer them. Anything that's, you may have from the stories you heard tonight, or just anything that you may be wondering about the school. We really want to give you that opportunity to hear directly from myself or Dr. Una. Dr. High says, is the investment the same every year?
Yeah, so the investment is it's on a grandfathering structure. So what that means is whatever investment you come in at, you get to keep that. So even if we raise the price of the school and all of that stuff, it's none of your business because you stay where you came. Yeah, so that's the answer to that. Right. Yeah.
Dr. Paulina says, is EntreMD Advanced available any time of the year?
So that's a different program for this. So the answer to that is no, but that's different from what we call the business school, which is EntreMD Grow. Yeah. But EntreMD Grow, you can come in at other times of the year. It's just at the bonuses and all of those things, and being able to do a kickoff event with your cohorts. That's what goes away. So like Dr. Maisha had a cohort call that she was able to come to, and all the other doctors that were here as well. Yeah.
Dr. Una, I'd love you to speak on two things. The first thing I'd really love you to speak about is making the decision, because I find that a lot of people really do want to join the school and they see the value in it. But, there are some decisions that they need to make. And, when it comes to the financial aspect of the school, for some people that, especially if you're just starting, you're just, building your business from the ground up. Or even if you built a business, but it's still a big investment, right? For some people. And so I find that making the decision is really the first step. It's not, because once you've made that decision, then everything else falls into place. So could you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, so this is the deal. Let me use myself as an example, and I think it's important that we understand this. Our future is at the mercy of our decisions. It sounds like a cute thing you can put on Facebook and all of that, but I need you to hear me. Once upon a time, I was a socially awkward, super shy, introverted introvert. The possibility of me being on camera talking to you was zero, like big zero. That was me. That was me as a private practice owner. I would not go out to talk to referral sources. I didn't think my company was really good. I didn't have anybody to talk to. I was alone. Now I am somebody who I've run my private practice for 14 years. I've built a team so the private practice works without me. The last time I set foot in my practice was December 27th, 2020. What was that, 21 or 22? It's 2 years, 2.5 years I've been I haven't stepped foot there, but it's running and they're killing it. Okay. Then I run a podcast with over 600,000 downloads, more than 400 episodes. I run a business school. I need to understand, I run a business school, and I have hundreds of stories of people who are winning, who are crushing it as entrepreneurs, who've crossed the 6-figure, 7-figure, multiple 7-figure marks, have changed their families, changed their trajectories. Now we're taking a vacation a quarter while building a multi-million-dollar business. I've spoken on stages. I've been featured on Forbes. I have a company on the Inc. 5000 list of fastest growing companies in the United States, and we made number 315. The difference between me, the super shy, socially awkward, introverted introvert who did not think she could succeed, and this me was a decision. It was a decision to bet on myself and invest in myself. When I had the first opportunity to invest in myself, you guys have heard me if you listen to the podcast, it was a $43,000 program. I'm like, did they lace it with gold? Can somebody explain this to me? Like, what in the world is going on? And at that time, I didn't even have a business idea. I was like, I don't know what I want to do, but I know I want more. What is more? I haven't the foggiest idea. I just know there's more. So with that, I was willing to pay 43 grand to go explore and see what more could be. Now this more has led to impacting thousands and thousands of lives and generating millions and millions in revenue. It's so much so, and I'm not telling you to do this, I'm telling you so you understand where I'm coming from. My minimum investment in myself, because understand that I'm leading over 100 people in the business school. I'm affecting thousands of doctors. I see it as my obligation to continue to evolve rapidly so I can continue to be of service. Does that make sense? My minimum budget for investing in myself every year is $100K. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm just telling you what I do. I do that because I understand I am the rate limiting step. Once I get better, everything gets better. Once I acquire these skills, everything is better. That's my minimum investment. And I do that every single year. Why? Because if I can become more of who I need to be, I can affect more. I can change more lives. I can do so much more. And it is irresponsible for me to be responsible for people who are running businesses and I'm not getting better. That is like the height of irresponsibility. I will not do it. So understand there's not going to be any assurances. Sometimes we wait for assurances before we make decisions. There's not going to, did we have assurances we would graduate from med school? Did we have assurances we would get into the residency program we wanted? Did we have assurances that the person we chose as a spouse would work out? Did we have, we didn't have any assurances. Well, we bet on ourselves. And here we are. And so it's a gift to ourselves to decide to invest in ourselves, to decide to bet on ourselves. Dr. Maisha is just talking. I mean, like, do the math. She had a 5K speaking gig, 10K speaking gig, 8K speaking gig. She's already at 23 grand. She's been in the business school for 90 days. Right? People have come in, you build $1 million business, like, and you pay 30 grand, like, cry me a whole river. That's what that person is saying. Right? And this is the reason why they will invest again and again and again. We have people who have been in the school since the school started and they are never leaving. Right? Because once you make that decision and you go all in, like you look at Dr. Maisha, what do you think is happening to her? She's like, well, if that could happen in 90 days and I didn't do all the things, what could happen if I decide to do more things? It's addicting because you're like, who else am I? What else can I do? What else can I become? That's why I invest in myself. And let me tell you something. I have never lost money investing in myself. It hasn't happened. It has not happened because the only way for everything in life to get better is for me to get better. It's not the thing. Right? Like there's a recession. People are like, oh my goodness, there's a recession. There's some other people celebrating. Like, yay, recession. There's something they know. We all want to know what they know. Do you see what I mean? So I'm of the opinion that it is too expensive for me to remain the same. It is too expensive for me to remain the same. And I'm very aware of my mortality. This happened when I turned 38. I became very aware of my mortality. This is not a rehearsal. This is the life. We're here. This is it. Like every day we're burning daylight. Every day I'm closer to being 90. Every day I'm closer to not having the strength or the time or the bandwidth to do what I've been dreaming of doing. I'm promised today. I'm not promised tomorrow. Like my job is to invest in myself now, take myself seriously now, push myself forward now, do all the things I can do now, do the scary things I could do now, bet on my dreams now. Like I've been talking about influencing 100,000 physicians since when? 2019? But I work at it every day. Every day. So like Makita, I don't know, you weren't expecting all that, but the bottom line is this. The worst thing we can do is stay the same. The worst thing we can do is play it safe. The worst thing we can do is stay the same and expect things to change. Look at the space we are in. Nobody is coming to save us. Nobody, like nobody. We're the ones that are going to rise and we're going to save ourselves. And we do that by retooling ourselves. The us that created this is not the us that will fix it. We got to change. And it all starts with the decision. And nobody's going to give the assurance. You're going to make a decision. This happens or it happens. The end. Okay, Makita, that's what I got for you.
That was amazing. Thank you, Dr. Ona. Love it. And I just love the last part of what you said that, we have to be the ones to make that decision. It either happens or